and welcome to another episode of From the Horsebox. I'm Kate.
And I'm Claire. Today we've travelled to the West Midlands for a dressage masterclass with the Eilberg family, organised by Synovium Equine Supplements, who sponsor them.
We enjoyed ridden demonstrations from Michael and Maria, with a fascinating commentary from Ferdi.
Join us as we talk to Michael Eilberg, Anouk Frieling, who is head nutritionist for Synovium, and Vicky Hipkins, the MD of Synovium Horse Dietary Supplements in the UK, who organised the day. Well, Michael, thank you very much for letting us record our chat with you today. Now, my enjoyment of dressage comes from going to Badminton horse trials and watching all the tests, and I can see the top of the range tests, when Laura Collett came in on London, and I can see the ones that can barely get through the test. But it's all those gradations in between. Now, you now will be able to see all those finer points. If you could just explain a couple of things. Working over his back.
We have obviously a way of going that we're constantly the judges and us as riders are constantly trying to manage and evaluate. And that basically the working over the back is very much linked into the way of going. Working over the back is to do with the horse being supple. We talk about a horse swinging in the gait.
Is that a good thing? Swing?
So swing is very much a necessary thing. And so swing is very much related to a horse being over the back and supple. And so it should allow movements when a horse works over its back. It should allow the connection from the hind leg to the contact at the mouth. It should make that connection basically. And so that's where when you see horses not being able to carry the neck properly, that's very often an indication that the horse isn't sort of working over his back in the right way. It's like an arc. You know how a humpback bridge works, how the strength is in the shape. It doesn't have to have anything underneath it because the strength is in the shape. And that's basically working over the back is creating that arc of strength, and then of course the suppleness to create that shape in the first place.
And when you teach, are you able to tell the rider exactly which aid and which rein and the left and the right, and for it all to click into place?
When I'm teaching?
When you're teaching.
Yeah, I think obviously being very much a rider myself and still actively riding at the moment, I do definitely think that people do, there's obviously eyes on the ground is useful, but I do think when it comes to teaching and getting a feeling across, being actively there and having done it yourself is definitely, I feel, an advantage. And I think it creates a good, healthy respect for the educator as well, when you can get on and just go, well, this is how it's done.
So every horse is different, and it's up to you to find the right button, and presumably you go about that in a huge amount of different ways. Yeah,
so that's where I've tried to, all my life, I've tried to develop my depth of knowledge, and I've explored a lot of different ways of training horses. Originally I was jumping for most of all of my younger sort of career with the horses was jumping. I actually only started doing dressage with the horses when I was 22. So I actually came to it well after juniors, young riders, anything like that. And that definitely did give me an advantage at the beginning with the young horses, especially because it allowed me to be more a little braver, allowed me to be more free. I used to jump them a lot. I used to sort of give them that variety. We saw that this morning, didn't we, with the three horses that we had in there. They were all 6 years old, but completely different animals. And we're trying to find the way that we want to train them that we think suits them the best. So like the big horse, the Franklin that my sister was on, he's a horse that I tell myself he's 5. Even though he's 6, I tell myself he's 5 because I feel like that's how I have to think about him to train him right. The minute I start thinking he's, pushing him too much, I feel like it's not going to be right for him, even though he's very talented. And then the other one, is a horse that needs to be, the suppleness needs to be the priority. And then the other one, it's the confidence. So yeah, you have to sort of know what is going to be or I think what my dad's taught me is the order of importance to a horse. There's always an order of importance. like laying any sort of foundations for building anything. And you have to start from that and then work your way through the list.
So having discovered dressage after jumping, you've never looked back and you've always been passionate about that.
Yeah, it was an odd one, because if you'd asked me at 21 if I would be doing what I'm doing, I definitely wouldn't have said that, because I had not much interest with the dressage work and stuff, but it just, circumstances came around. It was like I had a job lined up. I'd actually got everything, all my jumping horses sold. I'd got a job lined up in Sweden to go ride for a big stud, and I thought that was kind of like my big break. And then that fell through last minute, and Dad had a rider here at home that was was leaving, and so sort of he was a bit stuck with a few of the young horses here. I was a bit sort of in limbo with not really knowing what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. So he just said, "Well, you're here. The horses need riding. Can you, why don't you do that for the time being?" And I did, and then basically sort of fell in love with the horses, and then I suppose the sports came after.
Your father is a gifted man, and to listen to his talk today, and I especially loved the way he incorporates the flair of your young horses into the movements. Their exuberance today was a joy, really, and you harness that. Yeah,
you have to, I suppose, because we love it. I love, we all want a happy athlete, but a happy 600 kilogram horse that's a bit too happy, can be quite a powerful beast as well. So, you have to harness it in the right way possible. But this is where it's about establishing, the right sort of amount of respect with confidence, because that creates trust. And then that trust is what allows you to then have the relationship to go into these atmospheres and these big competitions and go and perform.
Are there any products which help with the, lots of people go mad for calmers, don't they? Do you use anything like that in your...
Well, obviously we work with the Synovium supplements, with the horses, and it's a constant management of everything. To have a horse in the right place, it's not just riding, it's everything. It's the management behind the scenes, from what it's fed to how it's handled to the experiences you give it. So it's a big picture when it comes to taking a horse from A to B. But as you saw, like with the horses this morning, when they came out, they were a bit spooky. Rather than grabbing hold of them and going like, "Oh, don't spook." Dad mentioned, we don't really work with saying "don't spook." We try to work with the concept of saying, you can look, but have the confidence that everything's fine, because I'm telling you everything's fine. And so you saw then how I approached it. I worked them a little bit at the top end, and then I let them come down and have a little look and a little, check. Everything's fine. And then we started working. And I just find that, then when you get to the work, you're not having to hold on to the horse to stop it from spooking. You sort of feel that the horse is, at ease with what's going on, and therefore you can ask and demand what you need from the sport then in that moment,
So a lot of the horses we saw were homebreds. What are you looking for if you have to go and buy a horse for a new owner or something? Can you give us a few pointers to...
Yeah, of course. I mean, it always depends on... There's so many good horses now, so it's always depending on budget when you're looking at different horses. But when you're looking at a raw horse, just a young horse, what I look for now, for me, it's very different to what I'm looking for a lot of clients. For me, as a top level sport horse, I'm looking for a horse that is sensitive, which sometimes as a young horse can make them not so easy, because they haven't built up their trust yet, that we spoke about. I think it's vital to have a good hind leg, a really good, strong mechanic in the hind leg. And then the two things that horses, I always say that there's a bit of wherever there's a pro, there's a con, normally. In any way of life, I always find that there's something that is good, means that on the other scale of it, means that there's a negative. Yeah. So with what we have with our horses is, in the dressage, is they have to be able to sit, which is carry weight, and they also have to be able to push. And those two things are very contrasting of each other, because very often horses that push amazing don't like to carry. Horses that carry amazing don't like to push. So if you can ever get on a horse and feel that it's got the capacity to do both of those things, then you'd normally find if you can train it, it's going to have high marks in its future, because that's what Grand Prix is all about. It's about sitting and carrying some weight and showing that weightlifting concept that my dad talked about, and then pushing out there and showing this elegance to the gait that goes forward, which is more like the ballet.
So everybody loves the musical accompaniment to dressage. Is the music helpful to the rhythm of the horse? And when you put that music for the first time, what effect does it have on the horse?
No, I mean, the music's obviously a very crowd-drawing class now, and it is lovely. I mean, when I ride here in the indoor school in the morning, I always have the radio on. It's lovely to ride to music, because music creates rhythm. You know, we all dance, don't we? When we start tapping our feet when we hear music and songs that we like. So riding is the number one thing on the scales of training is rhythm. Mm-hmm. So definitely music brings out a rhythm in you that you need in the horse. So I think when you ride, I had a freestyle with a horse called Marakov, who in the end I just loved riding to that freestyle, because the sort of the rhythm of the music matched him so well, and it was so it gave you a different sort of like feel when you rode, because it wasn't just technical. It was more like, it was like a feeling, a good feeling, and dancing because of the music.
What's your favourite piece of music to ride to in a test?
Obviously lots of good songs and stuff, but I had a freestyle with a horse called Half Moon Delphi, who I rode at the World Equestrian Games, and I was riding in this indoor school, and I was just schooling her, and Shakira came on the radio. Whenever, wherever. And my mum just stood here and she just said to me, "Oh my God, that's her." And so we put a freestyle together with that music. And I remember in Herning, I rode down the centre line at the end and had some sort of circles in passage. And that's where her power was. She had an amazing passage. And that music, and all the crowds got up and started clapping to the beat of the song with her. And I've got a lovely picture of me coming my final centre line is me putting the reins in one hand and doing that last bit in the centre in one hand. But of course, when everybody started clapping, she started wanting to go a bit too fast. So we've got a lovely picture of me leaning back with one hand holding on to her.
I'll definitely be looking that one up on YouTube.
But quite quickly I ended up having to abandon the one-handed finish and taking two reins again.
How do you think dressage as a sport is changing at the moment, and what's the future looking like, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, we have amazing horses now, and I think the riding and the breeding and everything over in the UK now has really stepped up. I mean, you look at the results of Britain in the last decade compared to where they were. This powerhouse Germany was always leaps and bounds ahead. And so, I think we've really come on, and we're sort of drawing a parallel to them now in a lot of ways. And the really nice thing is the depth that we have. It's not just
it's such a popular sport. But
I think it's because the information of the access, to good training and good horses is better. So then, of course, things excel, right?
Yes.
So the tack used, do you think it's getting more specialised?
No, I mean, things as we go through the the process of coming up with, we're always coming up with different tack is sort of the evolution is the word I'm looking for, of how tack and the way we use tack and the science behind it. We now have the science that we can actually see how the bits pressure on certain bits work. We didn't have that before. We can have that with saddle fitting. So no, I think if anything, all of that is definitely improving. And I think what you're referring to is it's becoming more specific. And being more specific, and then of course you need to be able to know. You need to have more information to make sure that you're using certain things the right way.
For the right horse. Yeah,
because when something's very general, you don't have to be so knowledgeable, do you? Yeah. But when something is specifically designed for something to be a little bit more in that niche, you know, then you have it's about the responsibility to make sure that you have your the knowledge to know when and where and how to use it. And then if you do that right, then it's the best of both worlds, because you've got the science proving that this is good, and the feeling and the knowledge that it works when you ride too. Yeah.
Do you have some nice sponsors that help you out with your equipment?
Yeah, we work with quite a few different sort of brands on stuff, and I've always been a firm believer that I always work with the brand that most of the sponsors that I've worked with, I've actually used the stuff before they approached me, which is always, I think, the best way, rather than the other way around. So we work with Amerigo Saddles, Sprenger Bits, Veredus Legwear, Synovium Supplements, Equisage, Bucas Horse Rugs. Lots of companies that have got always the best interest of the horse in mind. Yeah,
that's a huge affirmation for the people producing all those things. What's your favourite Synovium product? Do you have one?
Well, I think that I think what I like the most about it is when you've got a yard of horses like I have, which is, as we saw this morning in the demo, they're all very different. So what I like about their products is the sort of the broad spectrum of supplements that they can offer. So you're always going to have something that is going to benefit one of the horses here, depending on little issues come up all the time. So I have. As you saw, there was one of the horses this morning that sounded like he was getting a little bit of a cough, and they've got a fantastic menthol breathing thing that we use before work, that we've used many a time when they've got a little bit of a tickle, and that's great. There's the agility is our mainstay one, I think, which is sort of like the maintenance product that is just good for the whole all over joints of the horse, and it's just nice to know that in the background you've got that that protection going on with the horse.
You're used to a lot of success, you're at the top of your game, but we all know with horses that journey there's a lot of downtimes and a lot of disappointments. What would you say to a pupil who is struggling with the imbalance between the success that comes so seldom and the massive amount of hard work that goes into that? How would you advise them? You've said it there. Those are the facts, what you've just said. So I suppose it's all about the passion of that person. I mean, we look at me just now, and obviously it's great. Right at this time now, we have some amazing horses, and we've built back up. But there was a period not that long ago when we were breeding the horses, and they were all young, and they were all little scruffy 4-year-olds, and they were all, out of control 3-year-olds or bossy 2-year-olds, So we've had to go through that sort of, the hard work of mucking them out every day, being out here in the wind and the rain, and, putting the hard work in. And now, obviously, the horses are coming to light with the competition now, and, like to think that we're doing a good job with the training, and therefore they're flourishing, and then it does feel great. But I think you basically have to have the passion. If you've got the passion, then you can work through those hard days. I don't think you can do it for the success. I definitely don't do it for the success. I do it for the love of working with the horses, the love of seeing that horse that you've built that bond with go on and do something. I love seeing my clients do well. I definitely don't do it for the success. I think if you do it for the success, then unless you can be incredibly lucky to be very successful, I think you'll struggle. Yeah.
And now the international scene's sort of back on track again after everything. Is that exciting to be travelling more?
Yeah, obviously we've had it's a whole different system than when I was doing it. It was a lot easier when I was doing it years ago. Now with Brexit, I think I've heard that the journeys aren't as easy. We've got some horses coming into. I had 2 horses out at Grand Prix just last week for their first Grand Prix. One won the Grand Prix and one won the Inter 2, which is the stage just below Grand Prix. And they're very, very talented horses. So yes, there's hopefully, and I would say there's a good chance that there's an international competitions coming up for them. Yeah,
exciting. I've only got one final question. Why is it called pink and green?
Pink green.
I mean, pink green.
Pink green. I couldn't tell you. It's the road sign. It's the area. It's not something that we've called it.
Oh, I thought there was
it's
special
just it's
piece of underwear or something that was concealed.
No, it's just the area. But we've always laughed at pink and green, yeah, because it's very often we have when we've got the certain things with the kids who were dressed up the other day, and one was wearing green and one was wearing pink, and everybody said, "Oh, they fit in really well here."
Well, thank you very much, Michael, for allowing us to come. We've had an inspirational day, and we've learned such a lot and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good, glad.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, Vicky, and you are the UK agent for Synovium veterinary products in the United Kingdom, and have organised this open day. Tell us about your sort of expectations and aims for the day.
Yes, well, the idea behind today was to give people an insight really into how we work and use our veterinary supplements to aid the horses during their careers. We are here with the Eilbergs, so obviously they're dressage horses. But it's been an idea to just give people that insight on what they can give extra as they train and develop and aim for those higher levels, and how they can support their horse through nutrition.
And so obviously these products can be used across the board in all equestrian disciplines.
Yeah, so the range covers all disciplines, all levels. It is developed by an FEI, an Olympic team vet. So obviously his knowledge base at the higher levels really plays a huge part in the development of the products. Testing on horses as well as the science studies. But yeah, we do, from everyday leisure riders and their horses and how they can support them at those levels right up to top level and Grand Prix athletes.
And do you find days like this and word of mouth help your marketing sort of more than advertising online or whatever?
Yeah, definitely. We have grown here in the UK mainly through word of mouth. I think that's key. Our products most definitely sell themselves. They're high end as in ingredients we use and the levels that are used are. The vets back their products because they want them to work. They want the best for the horses. So that is definitely key there, yes.
So they're widely available, or do they have to be ordered through you? Can you get them in your normal supplier?
So they are mainly through us. We have a few suppliers, retailers, mainly vet-based, that understand our product. Our key is to help and support people. We provide not just a product but a service. So we do keep it a little bit in-house. You can talk to us and our vets. Our vets can talk to your vets. And the idea is that we get a much bigger picture of the horse, anything that's going on, where they need help and support, and we find that key and by talking to people. So we don't outsource our products to huge big retailers because we feel we would lose that. We can provide that extra service to really support people with their horses.
That's amazing to be able to have somebody on hand that really knows and can help you.
Yeah, we find people get so confused, and it's great for people to just be able to speak to us and really find out what's going on and what they might need to help them.
And we're having a most amazing day. I have to say the audience, I don't know if you describe us as an audience, but it's mainly women. We have one man and 40 ladies?
Yes.
Do you find in the dressage world you are mainly dealing with mainly women?
Not always, no. I do think women are a bit more at the forefront, but as you see the different levels, I mean, at the higher end of the level, you do see more men than women. I think people ask that question many times of why. I don't think really anyone's got an answer, but I do think women do have a huge role across all disciplines at all levels. I think we then see the men coming in more towards the higher end of levels of all disciplines.
And how often do you put these days on across the UK?
So this is our first big one with the Eilbergs. We're not been here in the UK long, so this is what we've just started to do now with some of our riders. And, it's great, I think, to be able to come and people can come and watch and talk and get to know us. And it's great for our riders, such as the Eilbergs. Their wealth of knowledge is incredible. So to have them be able to kind of give some of that to people has been fantastic. And it's definitely something that we are going to continue to do with the Eilbergs and the riders to give people a really, a day not just about our products, but about learning and insights of, what they can do.
It's been fascinating, and it's obviously your passion as well as your job.
Yeah, so I really come back into this as a rider myself. That is my background. And I came across Synovium for my horses and through horses while I was out there and through learning through the vets. So, my role in it has really been, I used it myself on horses and people I know were using it, getting to know the vets. The studies are all in-house. They all independent studies. They don't rely on anything outsourced. So seeing all that work and how they work has been incredible. And it's just something I got into as people started asking me what we were using. So I definitely come into it from the rider's perspective. And I think that the brand and the products they produce are truly fantastic. So it's been a passion of mine to be able to share that and share with people what they should be looking for within supplements and how to choose the right ones is key, really.
Well, Vicky, it's been fascinating. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
So, Anouk, you've just given us a lovely talk on all the Synovium products, and you're the scientific sort of arm of everything that goes on. And what's your interest in horses? What's your background in horses? Because you obviously come from the Netherlands.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've been riding since I was very young, since I was about 6 years old. And I went to university. I went to study animal husbandry first, and then went on to do my master's in Wales, which was equine sciences. And then, went on to be an equine nutritionist.
Are the products mostly used for the sport horse and the breeding stock?
They can be used for any type of horse, but there are supplements that are often used by sports horses. So, for example, the joint supplements are more used by sports horses, as they just require that specific type of support. But we also have products such as GastroSafe, which is more a digestive supplement, which can be used by any type of horse that suffers from digestive discomforts. Yeah.
So, is there anything you could give someone which would help ensure against colic, for example?
To prevent it, more like is because GastroSafe consists of ingredients such as prebiotics that have an influence on the microorganisms in the hindgut. But overall feeding is very important to have that right to prevent such things as colic or laminitis. And
So your products are tested extensively, aren't they? And they're proven. Yeah. So how do you go about proving that they work? How does that happen?
Yeah, so for each supplement, it's different. So they are supplements that we do just the literature science behind it. There are also other products that we send to universities so that they can research it for us. Or we do our own research as well. We find it very important that they're all that we know that they work, that they do have an effect on the horse, and so that's the importance of our supplements, really.
And the big subject of clean sport, is this a key subject for you when people are choosing your products?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's very important as well, because you don't want to have something to feed something to then come back in a test when a horse is on competition or something. So
that is not a possibility with your products?
No, most likely not, no.
So they mostly mirror nature, am I right? You're trying to enhance the natural process much as you can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are products, if there are products that might come up in testing during competition, there's one product that we have which is called BioBute, which contains devil's claw, and that's the only product that we use that is not registered for FEI competitions, but the rest is all tested and can't come back positive.
I see. One last thing I'd like to ask is, some of us are in the downtime of our riding and the horses are not being worked and they're really struggling with weight gain.
Yeah.
Is it best to intermittent fasting or muzzle, or how would you advise someone struggling with overweight horses?
Yeah, so if they are on grass and that's sort of the issue, then a muzzle might work, but also strip grazing might work, which means that you sort of give them one piece of grass that they can graze on, and once that's empty, you give them a little bit more. But you do this gradually as well. This will help to also manage the grass intake of the horse instead of completely cutting it out. Because
so it's not a good thing to have an instant long period of fasting?
No, I would not recommend, because the horses have a small stomach, and in nature they also are constantly eating small bits of food just to keep the digestive tract going and not have it sort of stop.
So it's a reduction and little and often.
Yeah, reduction of more like concentrates, because they're not highly necessary. So for sports horses, concentrates are necessary because they meet the increased energy requirements, but also the vitamin and minerals requirements. But horses that are that don't work out that much or aren't ridden as much can also do well on a lot of fiber and a vitamin and mineral supplement, because they will still get enough energy for body maintenance, but they won't get too much energy so that they can put on a lot of weight. So that way you can sort of control it, and by using the body condition score scheme you can sort of estimate their body weight, because we don't put them on
like
weight
a weight
scales.
tape and things.
Yeah, sort of.
So you're advocating portion control,
yeah,
which is important for us. Thank you so much, Anouk. It's absolutely fascinating listening to all of it. Thank you.
With many thanks to Vicky and the Eilbergs for such an inspiring day. We were delighted with our Synovium goodie bags.
We look forward to an update from you, Kate, when you compete in your next dressage competition. You'll be floating through those paces. Please share this with your friends and book in for our next episode on the 1st of the month, when it could be you in the driving seat.